Hello and welcome back, dear students. Wish you all stay happy, healthy, and safe at home. I'm Yojana Parak, and this is the second part of Landscape of the Soul, which I'm going to teach you now for Standard 11 from English textbook Hornbill. Name of this topic is Getting Inside Outsider Art, written by Brinda Suri in Hindustan Times on 28 August 2005. So let us see what is outsider art and what does Brinda Suri wants to tell us by that. When French painter Jean Dubuffet mooted the concept of art brut in the 1940s, the art of the untrained visionary was of minority interest. From its almost veiled beginnings, outsider art has gradually become the fastest growing area of interest in contemporary art internationally. Mooted, that means to consider, visionary, that is illusionary, veiled, that is lower, and contemporary art is the present art form. So when the French painter, whose name was Jean Dubuffet, was considering the concept of raw art, the art which is not taught but it comes from the heart of the artist, or you can say it is not a trained art form, a new art form, or a different kind of art form which is raw or untaught. So that art form he was considering, or you can say he was promoting in 1940s. The art of the untrained visionary, or you can say illusionary, was of minority interest. Very less people pay any attention towards that raw art, which is of different kind, and it was actually not taught, or it was not a particular line of art which they used to follow during that time. So it was a unique or new art form and untaught art form. That is why people paid very less attention to that art form in the beginning. From its almost veiled beginnings, that is a very lower beginning, outsider art has gradually become the fastest growing area of interest in contemporary art internationally. But when it started, the growth of outsider art or art brut was very low, but by the time the art form which is called outsider art has gradually become the fastest growing area in the interest of present art form internationally in the whole world. This art form is growing very faster right now, while its beginning was very lower in 1940s. This genre is described as the art of those who have no right to be artists, as they have received no formal training, yet show talent and artistic insight. Their works are stimulating contrast to a lot of mainstream offerings. Those who are trained in art and those who do a particular type of art, that is called a mainstream. So those who follow that mainstream art form, this outsider art was totally in contrast or different from that art form. It was different from the mainstream art form, and it was described as a different style of art, which is people used to call it that it does not have any right to be called as artist, because those who are outsider artists have not taken any formal training for the art. Still, they show some talent and that artistic perspective which is different from other mainstream artists, which make them artists even though they are not trained in any particular formal art form. So this is why, as they show an inner talent or a different artistic perspective, it is known as outsider art. And even though it is not being taught by anyone, they do it by their own talent. So this is different from mainstream. That means without getting any formal training, they did something which was different, and suddenly they got famous for that. Around the time W. Fett was propounding his concept, in India, an untutored, that means untaught, genius was creating paradise, that is heaven. Years ago, the little patch of jungle that he began clearing to make himself a garden sculpted with stone and recycled material is known to be the world today as the Rock Garden at Chandigarh. Now, when W. Fett was trying to put forward the concept of outsider art, that time in India, an untutored genius, that the person who has not taken any training in any kind of art form, but he was genius because he had that inner talent, a different perspective which he had, and by that he created paradise in India. How he created that? Let us see. Years ago, the little patch, a little part of land of jungle that he began clearing to make himself a garden. He himself made a garden in that small part of jungle, sculpted with stone and recycled material. How he made that garden? He sculpted it. He made some statues by stone and recycled material, which is known to the world today as the Rock Garden at Chandigarh. And that creation of that untutored, untaught person or artist is now very well known in the whole world as the name Rock Garden at Chandigarh. So just like W. Fett, he was also an outsider artist who had never taken any formal training for any art form, but he was genius because with his talent he created something different, unique and special. And what he did, he sculpted statues with stones and recycled material in Chandigarh, that is known as Rock Garden. And this untrained artist art is famous in the whole world. Its 80 years old creator and director Nek Chand is now hailed as India's biggest contributor to outsider art. Now it is of 2005. In 2005 he was 80 years old, Nek Chand. But we can say that now he will be 90 plus approx. The 50th issue, Spring 2005, of Raw Vision, a UK-based magazine, pioneer in outsider art publications, features Nek Chand and his Rock Garden sculpture Woman by the Waterfall on its anniversary issue's cover. So in UK there was a publication who always motivated the outsider art, and in that the 50th issue, which is known as Golden Jubilee. So in that issue, which is known as Spring 2005 of Raw Vision, in that they used to publish raw art form, which are untaught and different from mainstream. So in that magazine, in the year of 2005, on its 50th Golden Jubilee, the magazine presented raw art form in which it featured Nek Chand and his rock garden named as Women by the Waterfall on its anniversary issue's cover page. So in this way, this art form of Nek Chand, which was situated on a small patch of land in India, in Chandigarh, was famous in the whole world, and even in UK the magazine took that the art form or the creation of Nek Chand on its front page, on its cover page of its publication. That shows that how much respect he got for his creation in whole world. The notion of art brut or raw art was of works that were in their raw state as regards cultural and artistic influences. Anything and everything from a tin to a sink to a broken down car could be material for a work of art, something Nek Chand has taken to dizzying heights. The word which we know as art brut or raw art was of works that were in their raw state, which was not very popular or not taught. It comes from the heart, and it can be differ because it was not of the mainstream art form. As regards cultural and artistic influences, now it became the cultural and artistic influence. Every people started influencing by that, and they really liked that art form, which was different from the mainstream, and they started following it. In this way, it got famous in whole world. Anything and everything from a tin to a sink to a broken down car could be the material for work of art. Not only paint or brushes are needed for any art form. So this is what Nek Chand taught by his art form, and he took this outsider art form to an unsteady heights, which grew and grew and grew. Recognizing his art as an outstanding testimony of the difference a single man can make when he lives his dream. So this outstanding art form which Nek Chand presented was the testimony of outstanding art form, which shows that one single man can make such a big difference if he wants to follow his own dreams. The Swiss Commission for UNESCO will be honoring him by way of European exposition of his work. The Swiss Commission of UNESCO wanted to honor Mr. Nek Chand, who was 80 years old then, by the way of European exhibition of his work. The 5-month interaction show, which is known as Realm of Nek Chand, beginning in October, will be held at leading museum in Switzerland, in Belgium, France and Italy. And this outsider art form presented by Nek Chand was profoundly honored by Switzerland, Belgium, France, and Italy, and they organized 5 months interactive show which is known as Realm of Nek Chand, that is Kingdom of Nek Chand, which was about to begin in October in the leading museums of Switzerland, Belgium, France, and Italy. The biggest reward is walking through the garden and seeing people enjoy my creation, Nek Chand says. That I have got so many rewards for my creation, but the biggest reward I consider is when I walk through that garden which I created, and when I see people who are enjoying my creation, that gives me the real pleasure. That is what Nek Chand thought. So by this way, we saw different art forms. First in the chapter, the Chinese view of art and the European view of art. And now we saw a different art form which is known as outsider art. That is not taught, but it is a different form of art from the mainstream, and it comes from the heart of the artist who is not trained but still is an artist because of his talent. And the very famous example of it is Nek Chand, who created a different kind of art form which is known as raw art or outsider art, which made him famous in whole world. So now here we come to an end of this chapter. Now I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care of yourself. Thank you for being with me. Bye bye.